I liked the best. And I will say, I felt good about it, which is rare for me with auditions. I'm usually like, well, that happened. Send it on, forget it exists, maybe I'll be less trash than the others. That's my normal feeling. But in this one, I was like, I kind of nailed that. I think I'm gonna get the part, which I hate doing. Like, you're not supposed to, when you take ownership like that, you're just setting yourself up for heartbreak. Like, most actors have a similar number to the one I'm about to tell you. I get like 1 in 20 parts that I audition for. Yeah, it's rare to get cast, so it's like really unhealthy to fall in love with a character that you're auditioning for, because there's like 50 other people who also are sitting in like pretty good passes and may also feel that way. But in this case, I did it anyway, and like 3 months later I gave up, and 4 months later I found out I got the part. So yeah.
Good for you, Oscar.
It felt good. I enjoy that character a lot. He's also the most difficult character I've ever been trusted with, because he's like 3 or 4 characters. He's Oscar.
Yeah,
he's Oscar
he's
being Ozpin.
Yeah.
He's Ozma in multiple generations as well. Yeah.
How confusing is that for you?
It's not too bad, because we recorded all separately. The first time that I had to be Professor Ozpin talking through Oscar, how many of y'all have seen RWBY? Okay,
Thank you.
This is useful for some of you. The other ones, I recommend it. It's free to watch on YouTube, and like Rooster Teeth put it there, so it's not pirated. Like, they like want you to watch it on YouTube. And like the first season, if that comedy appeals to you, then the first season is a comedy show. It sort of takes a turn after that, but if that comedy appeals to you, then you'll probably be in it for the whole ride. And it's like 6-minute episodes early on, so it's a small commitment. There was a follow-up there, but I lost it. Let's let it go. Yes?
Okay.
Are you excited to play your role in Big Hero 3 and My Hero Academia?
Oh yeah, I'm very excited. So the big 3 in My Hero Academia are the top-ranked upperclassmen. There's Mirio, Nejire, and Tamaki, and I am Tamaki. He's a shy boy. I don't want to give y'all spoilers though. I haven't done anything really with him yet, except like say I don't want to talk to people because they're scary, and like sort of like stand in the corner and give commentary as Mirio kicks the butts of everyone in Class 4A. I'm roommates with Mirio, by the way, so that's been fun. We've spent a lot of time talking about it, like the philosophy and like what the sort of analogy of the hero thing is, and I think we're realizing like the idea with our characters. The reason that we're put in is sort of as a affirmation that it's not about like, if the analogy is your quirk in that world would equal like your talents or the wealth you're born with or the connections that you have in this world, then the idea is that yes, some people have a fair advantage, like you're always gonna have Todorokis. But like, first of all, Todoroki doesn't have it as good as you think he does. And second, what matters most is what you do with what the world gives you. Like, and I think that our characters are very strong affirmations of that. And so I look forward to sort of telling that story and going through that lesson. Yes? If I could live in an anime world, it's weird, right? Because like, I love spending time looking at the world of Attack on Titan. I really do. I'm almost caught up on the manga. I would never want to live in that world. I love reading about Warhammer, like the fantasy one and 40K. Never would want to go there. Oh my God, please no. No. Yeah, so like I like Grimdark a lot, except when I have to think about going into it. I'm thinking about Fire Force now too. Like everyone, at any moment of time, one of you could just light up and start throwing fireballs all over the place. Don't want to live in that world. This is tricky. I think Blood Blockade Battlefront would be a good one. I mean, yes, the casualty rate is high, but like you can just leave New York if you don't like it, because New York is the only city where the other dimensional beings can go. And if you do like it, like there's a chance of you getting like superpowers out of nowhere, or like you can make friends with some really weird squid monster. Yeah, and I like weird stuff like that. So I think that's what I'd do. Is there any others? But I want superpowers. But I don't want to get beat up by villains. It's really tricky. Yeah, I think it depends on like what if I'm just gonna have a random power set, then I probably want the fantasy to be kind of low. But if I know that I get to go in as like a lord or a powerful character with powerful abilities, well then maybe I'd reconsider. It's interesting. Okay, any other question? Yeah, in the back.
So you probably get asked this a lot, but do you have any tips for someone who wants to be a voice actor?
I have a lot of tips, actually. One second, let me prep for this. Okay, so what I recommend, what I found with most people that are asking this is that they don't really want to be career actors. They just want to spend some time exploring voice acting as a bit of a hobby, is what it sounds like. Because if you want to be a career actor, then the path was and is to start at community college in a theater program and like get training. Put yourself through it. It costs less than you think, and you can take your time paying it. But if you want to be a hobbyist, then I have more complex advice for you. Which starts with getting a setup. All you need is a good microphone. I wouldn't spend less than, I don't know, like I think a $200 microphone gets you where you really need to be. And then a Scarlett Focusrite preamp is one that I use, and I swear they're not sponsoring me. It's just USB drive into your computer, into the preamp, into the microphone. It's the simplest way to get where you're talking at a microphone. You need that, microphone, a stand, and then mattress foam, and clear out your closet, put the mattress foam on the walls, and you have the setup that I had for years, that I have used to do relatively professional level recording. That sounds no different from what I get in a booth, assuming that I turn off my air conditioner and ask my roommates to be quiet. Yeah, so once you have that set up, then you can find, like, there's a massive indie voice acting community that you can start to participate in. I have an internet friend named Belshaber Rusape. I probably just butchered his name, but I haven't met him in person, so I don't know how to say it. Anyway, he's a good person to follow if you can figure out how to spell that by yourself, or come by and see me sometime. I think I'm doing autographs later, and ask me, and I'll write his info down for you. He has such a good like finger on the pulse of that scene, and he'll repost freely whenever like an indie game studio is like, we're looking for actors to cast, and only paid roles that he posts. So like, we're looking for actors for our indie Steam video game. We're looking for actors for our YouTube animated series, that sort of thing. And I think that's a really good place to start if you don't want to move, you don't want to go to college. And the reason I say you don't want to move is because there's like 3 places. If what you're talking about is like, I want to be an anime dub actor, your step 1 is to move to Los Angeles or DFW or Toronto. Or I think New York has a bit. Yeah, or Houston for ADV. And then probably pay a director to let you take a class with them and then impress them. Which, it's a lot, that's a huge step to take. And I wouldn't recommend doing it unless if you have already, that's another thing. voice.acting@funimation.com. If you do want to go that route, you start by emailing voice.acting@funimation.com. You wait about a year, and then you're going to get a text or email saying, hey, can you come in next week to do a Walla session? I mean, not to do a Walla session, to do an audition. And then you say yes, and you make it happen. You somehow get there in the next week. And then if that goes well, if you really impress the director, then you'll get called in for a Walla session, which means you'll be like the person who's talking to their aunt on the phone in the background at a cafe while the main character is doing their own thing. It'll be like, Yeah, James just doesn't get me. You know, I asked him to take care of my dog when I left town, and he didn't even answer. It was really hurtful. Like that or whatever, and it'll be scarcely audible. And then maybe a kaiju's foot goes through the ceiling, and then you're gonna do some screaming. You'll be there with like 4 other people in the booth. All of you just sort of building this like tapestry of background sounds. And that's a 1-hour session. It pays $35 an hour. So you'll get your first $35 about a month after moving, if you're lucky. So it's a lot and it's really hard. So I think the indie scene with your own setup is a really good starting point if you don't want to go to college and then, and the reason I keep saying go to college and do it is because if you have a degree of any kind in acting, then it's a lot simpler. First of all, those degrees usually come with connections of their own. Those professors are usually working actors who are also doing a side gig because it's really hard to be a professional working actor. They will have connections of their own that they can get you. And also you can get an agent because agents like degrees, like acting agents. And once you have an acting agent, that's like the best way to get into most of these studios because a lot of these studios will send out auditions to be remote recorded for agents. Like I have a VO only agent right now with Linda McAllister and Patrick McAllister are their names. And so I'll get auditions for like I recently did an audition for a cruise line for a prominent liquor selling company. Yeah. So you can start to get work that way that actually pays. That stuff, like, it's not an acting adventure like anime is, but it's like it's a lot more than $35 an hour. I'll just put it like that. Nah, I've not done a Six Flags. Actually, I think my roommate Rico Fajardo is the current voice of Six Flags. I think. He was probably impersonating me, you know? He's a big fan. He plays it cool, but yeah. Not really, I'm joking. It's a joke. Were there any other questions? Yeah. Nepotism.
Nepotism?
So that cousin that I keep mentioning, Justin Cook, who plays Kirishima, who voice matched or sort of played my dad in that one scene in Morose Mononokean. He also was one of the directors for Fruits Basket, and he had a choice to make, which was which of these 5 actresses that we have in Funimation at this point who can sound like little boys should I use? And I guess he worked with all of them a lot, and they were mostly already in the show, and so he was sort of at his wit's end a bit, and he would have needed to go through agents and what have you. But anyway, what he realized is that he knew a 9-year-old boy, and he had here a 9-year-old character. It was young Akito, not Hiro, which was just Akito, Soma in a flashback scene being really mean to Prince Yuki, saying some hurtful things to him. But it was like 1 paragraph, you know? And so he was like, I'll try Aaron. Aaron has been, the reason that he asked me if I wanted to do it was because I was in 3rd grade and I was reading, or at least pretending to read Lord of the Rings. You know, I would stare at the page, and then after an acceptable period of time, I would definitely turn the page. It seems like I must have been reading. I don't remember much from it. It was a long time ago, but yeah. So I was at a pretty high reading level, and so he was like, he's literate. Let's see if, and a real boy. And that was my great talent early on, was being a real boy, and not an adult woman. So I went in for that. I didn't stumble all over myself, and I was a decent parent, which meant if he said to hit this word, if he said to hit this word, if he said to hit this word, you know, it's moving around which word you're going to do in the inflection. I was able to do that, and that's really the most important thing, is that you can consciously read a sentence and change which word you're going to inflect, and you know what impact on the meaning of the sentence that has. uh, I was able to do that. And so he kept on auditioning me for stuff, and then other directors added me to their audition lists. And so it kind of took off from there. Yeah, Alphonse I auditioned for. They ended up selecting me, and then they had to send me to the Japanese to approve the sound of my voice before they confirmed it. Something really flattering that happens, y'all. This is my favorite thing about being Oscar and RWBY is the actress who played Alphonse in Japan. She voices Oscar in RWBY for Japan's dub.
Nice.
Isn't that cool? I thought that was so sick. It's like Senpai noticed. At last.
Senpai noticed me.
Yes.
Alright, we got 8 minutes, y'all. Let's try and get through this with a steady flow of conversation. Oh, hey! Hey, you want to start early? I didn't think so. Any other questions? Yeah. I guess like I mean, I have played them, just not that much. But I like sort of like arrogant, lower pitched teenagers. I can't be a lower pitched man, but I can be a lower pitched teenager now, and I'm ready. My body is ready.
Oh, so Oscar.
I was telling them about getting hit by puberty. Not like puberty hit me like a truck, but like a security officer on a Segway outside of a mall. They really liked it. Oh yeah? So you had the cracks going on too? Heck yeah! It's the worst. Yeah, I know it. Yeah. Oh, Terror and Resonance. Yeah, it's also, do you remember who the creator, I think it's another Cowboy Bebop shared director. Watanabe, yeah. It's directed by Watanabe himself, the name I just learned, that I now say with great import. And it's this really cool show about sort of like post-war Japan and like the echoes of the trauma that getting nuked left, and sort of like the things that this, hopefully fictional things that the government did in the wake of that. And like these two brilliant kids who basically have like a bomb, sort of like a ticking time bomb strapped to their own necks in terms of like how long they're gonna get to live. And they become terrorists, except that they're leaving riddles saying where their bombs are so that the bombs will always be stopped before they go off. And they are taking care not to kill anyone, but they are spreading terror. So they're terrorists, yes. Anyway, I thought the show was really cool, and it has a beautiful soundtrack. It sounds like, if anybody knows like Sigur Rós, that Icelandic band, it all sounds like it's that band. It's really sort of surreal and, yeah, beautiful. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
You said you read the original manga for a lot of the shows you work on. Have you ever been disappointed by the anime adaptation of it?
Yeah. You know what? I feel comfortable saying that Tokyo Ghoul the most recent season, felt a little rushed. They also did this thing where like they didn't just ignore all of the stuff that they were skipping. They would have characters make stupid, unjustified allusions to things that hadn't happened in the anime. So like if you, that season is great as a supplement to the 100 volumes of manga, which I did pretty much go through. Like I read the majority of those, because I had to. Like it would be like, this guy is like, after what you did, you have the gall to say this to me, and then they start a fight, and it's like, what did he do? Gotta find out. Let's go through it all. Yeah, I think the show, if they were gonna cut it down like that, they should have just cut out the plights of several side characters. But instead, what they did is they made all of the plights of all of the characters feel rushed, and all of their development feel rushed. That said, I still love that show, but yeah, I was a little bit disappointed on that one. Because if they had just taken more time, it was the Game of Thrones thing, right? If they had just taken more time, it would have been really good. Yeah. Yeah. I am actually not caught up on Game of Thrones. I'm just like regurgitating what I've heard. Yeah, I have read the books that are out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This character in a show called Story During Children, he's like the only lovable incel I've ever seen in fiction or reality. I'm sorry, that was probably a little bit harsh the way that came out. But he like talks about like women have spurned me for years, but I don't, and so I shall spurn them in turn. And the reason I talk like that is because the Japanese guy was also doing a super weird voice. He like, his eyes are, it's like he's constantly, this sounds wrong, but it's not meant like that. Other people are not squinting in the show, and he is constantly squinting as if the sun was like hurting him, as if he would rather be indoors in like a dark room staring at a screen. His teeth are in such a way that his mouth has a different shape from most people. They're all very, very forward. And so like, because of that, I was like, well, I've got to do something weird here. And so that's what I did. And the thing is, like, he's actually a great guy in the end. Like, he goes through this very fast, very dramatic character arc where like he gives up on his play date with his bro because his bro got a real date. And he was like, any woman that can see something beautiful in someone as ugly and worthless as you and I is a friend of me, you know? And it's a pretty cute show. Okay, yeah. Probably Blood Blockade Battlefront. It's very jazzy, and then sometimes it gets really like strong and like the wind filling your sails kind of music. Micah Solisad, who is going to be doing the next panel, is also in that show. Yeah. And now I shall pass the mic. Thank you so much for coming.